Hey.
I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and with me is my special guest and captain of Team Mexico Elías Mochán, whom you may be familiar with the screen name ComplixVandh on Board Game Arena. Hi, Elias.
Hi, Alexia.
So I have to apologize
Happy
to
to be here
everybody.
with you today.
Oh, we have a little bit of delay as well in the communication, but we'll sort that out. I have to apologize for the delay again. This time, different kind of technical difficulties. I guarantee you, it's something different every time. High V hit, high self evident. So there's not gonna be that much talking. Elias and I have already decided which is going to be the first pair that we are going to show. Just to give you some updates, recently Romania defeated Slovakia. You saw that Catalonia barely defeated Hungary 3-2. You didn't see that because they should have scheduled their match earlier and we would have shown that otherwise. And today we have a big day of Carcassonne ahead of us. We're starting with Japan, Netherlands. You can see all the lineups on the screen. Later on, we will leave our special guest in peace to root for Mexico versus Guatemala. We will not be showing that game, unfortunately. In the meantime, we will be doing our monthly viewers games analysis stream, and for dinner right after that with a different special guest who I think is kind of predictable who it is. We're gonna watch Belgium versus Argentina. So while we still have 1 minute left, Elias, do you have any forecasts as about who's going to win today?
Oh, I think it's historically safe to bet for Japan. Uh, I think the relo is not that high this time, but uh, I mean, I have to bet for Japan.
I would bet on Japan too. I don't think it's going to be pretty easily. So Japan actually has Netherlands outrated on every single board except board one, and board one is the one that we're going to be follow. So Patrick Bekkenote from Netherlands with the screen name Bexy is going to be facing the player with the screen name Yanochi Traps. Interestingly, the only Japanese player on the lineups who has not been selected for any of my viewers' fantasy fives. And if you don't know what we're talking about, then of course, we will talk about that a little bit later. So what I'm going to try to do and just open their game and simply start refreshing all the time. This should be starting anytime soon.
So,
Nope, that was too early. There's still 1 minute left for that.
oh,
Like
I
this
think
video,
it's
if
showing
yeah,
for me. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I
yeah, the game
think
is showing, but if you
it's
click on it, they haven't started yet. So
yeah. They haven't started. Yeah.
like this video if you don't like Board Game Arena's new interface when it comes to creating games. It has been a source of considerable frustration.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty. Okay, now it's even hours. Ah, I still refreshed too early. Okay, we're gonna wait like until 30 seconds. So you see, now it's impossible to catch the exact start of the match, because if you click too early, it just redirects you to that one page, which you can't refresh. And now, if you click too late, there will be moves already
I
played, and
think
we
it started.
already.
Yeah.
So as we see, the Dutch player here rated in the upper 600s. By the way, I've noticed that y'all didn't like my meeples, my last stream, so I had to change them. I'm gonna go through various sets of them, but now, yes, the colors will be what they are. Blue and yellow, but you can probably see this extra sort of like border around them just to make it clearer where they are. While the Dutch player does get the starting advantage, of course, the player with the blue meeples immediately responds with 4 points. By the way, you may have noticed that several Japanese players have this sort of traps at the end of their screen, and what that really means is that they're a member of what I think is an in-person Carcassonne club that several Japanese players are partaking. Look at this move by yellow in the meantime. I love this
Yeah.
greed. not taking the city cap immediately, but trying to take off a 6-point city if he gets a triangle, and all that in the name of preserving the integrity of this 4-point road. The downside, of course, is that this city has not yet been completed and can potentially be snatched away by blue or blocked.
I think it's the best move because you can take full advantage of a shielded triangle.
Exactly, and there's still 10 triangles remaining. There's still 1 splitter remaining for you to sort of bail out. And actually, a splitter would be worth the same as a shielded triangle. Sort of, if you're yellow, you kind of put it like this. Yellow starting a new city. I'm liking yellow's position. It doesn't matter that yellow has 0 points on the scoreboard. Look at that. Good road prepared to loop around. Now
Well, he
going to
saves
save himself
himself
from the block.
immediately.
Yeah, nice monastery. Well, the 8-point city is not going to happen because blue, of course, immediately attacks it and already gains an advantage in this mini battle. 2 points for this meeple versus 1 point for this meeple over here. And there's a world in which blue gets a quadruple city tile and maybe then another triangle, blocks off this square completely, and then just builds around over here to have, 8, 10, and even more points potentially. And that means that yellow will have to spend a tile to complete the connection later. Not this tile, obviously,
But
because
the
it
way,
doesn't fit. Yeah.
all right turn caps are out, or the
That's
right
interesting.
daggers.
Interesting, yeah, all the right-handed daggers are out, and this will definitely impact the blocking in this game. Well, what that means, like, all cities have just become much more blockable. Interesting use of a shielded tile, just leaving it lying around, all in the name of a 6-point field, potentially 9-point field, and this field will likely grow if Yanochi here completes Ring Road. This will leave a bunch of green squares over here to build cities on, but first we gotta take care of them quick points. Now, if yellow is greedy, yellow kills off his own monastery spot in the name of 1 point. Not sure how much I like that. I think a much greedier move for yellow was taking this juicy 6-point road essentially with just 1 move, but it's not happening. So the thing about the mini battle that we're talking about earlier is happening now. And Elias, if you're yellow here, how much do you care about defending this spot? Do you basically put the triangle like this facing upwards next to this tile that blue just placed, or do you just ignore that spot and start a rhombus-shaped
Yeah,
city at the bottom?
I was thinking about ignoring it because you still have a 50-50 at least, whatever block blue makes. Of course, unless blue gets the quadruple city and then it's a full block. And yeah, I think I would have taken the city, but I'm not sure. I would have thought about it for a while.
I
And
kind of
now
also
yellow
like
is
taking the city.
preparing a nice road.
Yeah, this is a very nice move by yellow here. I think this kind of greed is something that I wish we had seen on the previous moves as well, because you look like yellow has pre-built such a nice road over here, but he needs to make sure that he can actually take advantage of it. So for example, let's say if yellow gets a curve and free up these meeple, and if yellow gets another curve after that, I would not put it just here yet. I think that would be hasty. I would put this curve over here and directly taking the road, then find some sort of road end, and then fill in the square for a total of 7 points. So it does feel to me that this road is still being ignored by both sides.
Yeah,
So now
and
blue,
it's
of
still
course,
growing.
exactly. Blue wants the field connection, and both players just don't want to take those 6 points. I mean, somebody's gonna take
And
this
oh yeah,
eventually.
I was going to say yellow probably will continue the road and take the city. He takes it on the other side though.
Exactly. I do like the greed over here, and the point here of yellow it is that the city is not as vulnerable as it looks because let's say if blue gets some sort of straight line, well, there's 3 left-handed daggers remaining. Remember, there are only the right-handed daggers that are out, which is why blue is preparing a block from a different side. There are already 2 starting tiles that have already been used, and if blue gets a tile over here, this meeple will be a bit more vulnerable than yellow would have liked. So yellow is kind of now forced to go into a 50-50, not an ideal situation when it comes to meeples here, and blue will just be building up this field and then later using his meeple majority to fight for it. Interesting choice here from yellow, not taking 3 points but taking 2 points in the name of threatening this ring road, and given that there are only 4 crossroads
Yeah, but
remaining, I'd
the
rather
the
like it
other
actually.
move the other move also threatened the road
Oh
in
yeah,
the
that's
same
true.
way.
Maybe,
I think he's trying to block
maybe.
the monastery spot.
I don't think so. I think he just didn't want to threaten his own city. Because let's say if you place the monastery over here in
Oh
that
yeah,
spot for
yeah,
3
that makes
points,
sense.
then blue gets some sort of road tile, and then this is completely dead because remember, there are no right-handed daggers remaining.
Now, if you are blue, do you want to kill that monastery spot or preserve it since you have the meeple majority?
Look at this
Oh,
greed over
interesting move
here.
by blue.
Yeah, I think it's asking for trouble, really, because, like, what you do here is you're ahead. You're ahead on the scoreboard, you're ahead of the meeples, you have a nice position. Just invest a meeple. You know, I think what he's trying to do, he's kind of trying to block this entirely, but the idea is you're essentially hoping for your opponent not to get the 50-50, because if, let's say, yellow does get the 50-50 for the triple city tile with the road and puts it over here, well then this threat for the city is renewed, and then you will have to spend as blue another tile to connect. But we don't know how the situation is going to be
Yeah, but I
resolved.
think it's like probably safest was just to take the city and say, okay, I don't care about the triple city with road, but he's like speculating. So he's like, maybe he doesn't get a city and I don't have to care about this. But what I don't want is for him to close this other half of the city, and then it's a real threat, the triple city with road. Right now it's half a threat.
That's true, but then essentially, like as blue, you're either like you're either hoping, right? You're either that in this case, this move, doesn't do anything, or like eventually you will have to connect to the city, even if it's not such a big threat. It's gonna have like what 9 points in it, and also a potential to close. In the meantime, speaking of cities, blue is doing quite well on the other hand over here. So even though red managed to sort of kind of protect this connection square over here, it's not working out for him just great because there's only 1 tile remaining,
Oh,
and
and by the way,
blue
the
draws all of
connection
them.
to the city is dead. Yeah.
Yes. Now it's dead right after this move. It only happens only 12% of the time, only once every 8 games, but that's what Carcassonne is for you, because we're streaming way more than 8 games, and that's why stuff like this is going to happen. So yeah, that's why maybe that was another argument in favor of probably ignoring this connection, and you just have a look at how powerful mini battles are. So essentially, blue has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, -1, 9 points completed for free with no meeple investment. And I think now, in order to do something about that as yellow, well, you kind of need to draw one of the key tiles, like either the triple city tile that gives you the city points and a lucrative 7-point road, or this city finisher on the left. There's still 1 dagger remaining of that kind, even though, of course, blue is preparing to finish a city, create a blocking platform, and then as yellow, they'd have to defend.
Yeah. There are nice roads for quick points now as well.
That's true. Look at this 4-point
So there
road,
will be a few.
3-point
Well,
road.
but those roads are practically blue because the big tile with road, yellow is not putting it there, right?
Oh, that's, I think, a very impatient move here from Blue. Trying to create a
Yeah.
blocking platform, but it's a well-known mistake because you need to wait until you get a city tile in a spot like this. And, well, at least Blue accomplished half of his objective. At least this stuff is blocked, but Blue's meeple is going to be collateral damage, and Blue is going to have fewer points for this meeple than Red has for this meeple. So it was a bit of a
But
demonstration of impatience from Blue, if you ask me.
yeah, because actually the only way, like Blue can join that city with Dorito. Oh, there's still one splitter. No, there's no splitter tile. Uh, but there's only one triple city, so Blue cannot grow his side of the city very much.
That's true, but Blue says it doesn't matter. I'm just going to win
Yeah.
this field. And Blue does have the long-term meeple majority, let's not forget that. The only reason that Blue is currently at a meeple minority is because, well, he has more farmers. And this meeple, the city meeple below, is likely to come back in Blue's hands, which makes me thinking about Yellow's prospect here. So probably as Yellow you have multiple options. You can just ignore this... you can just ignore this altogether. Okay, yeah, I'm being asked to move the playing board
So
even further.
do you think Yellow can win without the triple city with road?
Yes, absolutely. The way you do that is you take over the field and then try to close it down. You need to get as Yellow some sort of 3 versus 2 meeple majority, of course, easier said than done. Then maybe you block the city, you kind of connect through here. There are also some scenarios how you can set up a neat field connection to kind of get 2 meeples in one, but it's a little bit far-fetched. It could happen, though. So don't discount Yellow in this game, and if anything, Yellow's win condition is still flexible. Blue just refuses to take the city piece. Blue can win without the triple city tile. Actually, that's a good question. Yes, Blue can, but they need to do the same thing. They need to win the field with 2 versus 1 meeple majority, and then they need to close it down. Probably, ideally, they want to save this meeple somehow, but it's like not a must. Because of the difficult dagger situation, Yellow is 1 move away from blocking the city completely. And
Yeah, I
let's
think
see.
Blue has to defend, right? There are still Doritos to grow that city, so I think he can just defend.
It's possible, but then, like with the Dorito, there's only 2 of those remaining. I mean, how much do you care about this meeple? Yeah, well, he does care about this meeple. He does wants to finish it.
Yeah.
And the alternative move was just simply to go here and just get these 3 extra points, just simply cash out. Because again, like maybe losing 1 meeple is not such a big tragedy for Blue. Oh, look at this farmer over here. I didn't even see this field connection. Risky, of course, but it does look quite unblockable. There's 1 tile of each kind. There is 1 monastery with a road, 1 monastery without road, and 1 simple city cap that fits here. So it's not possible to block the square entirely. It's only possible to restrict it to a 50-50. By the way, guys, do you know why the game or why the board was covered by the scoreboard? Don't blame me. Blame the Japanese player and the Dutch player who chose like a 20-character screen name, okay? And they're not even in the same duel. Oh, I
Yeah.
see it. There's a lot of you here. Let me just see. Hi, Kaika. Hi, Joao. Hi, Afonso. Hi. Let me just scroll up. Hi, Steven. Hi, David. Meeple the like button unless you have done so, both for the algorithm and just because it would look nice. The Dutch player is really, really adamant on having this meeple block. He wants to give no chances for the blue guy to come out.
Oh, there's the important tile. So now yellow has a big advantage, I think. So by the way, Traps is not only in person, they also play online, and they like, I know they are more than 50 people in the Traps community,
Really?
and they organize friendly matches with several teams. I've played them at least 3 times, I think. We've played them with Mexico and also with Birds of a Feather, which is a team I had with Mingo, Manarori, Admitted, and Ralthus.
For the Brazilian Championship,
And
right?
yeah, and we've played Traps in friendly matches.
That's pretty cool. Do they all have like traps in their screen names, or are some of them not as
Not all
loyal?
of them. So for example, EQ, who's playing, I think, in duel number 3, I think he's from Traps as well.
Right. Well, let's now get back to the game situation, because this monastery with the road is certainly an interesting development. Earlier in the chat, actually was Afonso who suggested a very interesting move to place the curve over here at the bottom and drop a farmer as yellow and basically gamble the whole game on a 50-50 through this monastery. It was a very neat idea. Of course, it would not have worked out, as we know, because blue got the monastery, but it surprised to me that they took just 3 points. Although maybe they want to preserve the meeples for a field battle. But let's count up the curves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Aha, that's why they did that. So there are no curves remaining, meaning that this square is completely dead. And even though yellow would have loved to place a crossroads like this and drop a farmer, and then place some sort of city tile here and drop a farmer, and then grab a curve and connect 2 meeples with 1, this would not have worked because there are no curves remaining, and this appealing looking spot is no longer available. Moreover, yellow has further trouble. Black is not playing in this game. I lasted only 19 minutes. Okay, not great for me today.
Oh, you said red before. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you.
Oh man. But okay, well, it's gonna be a long day if I can't last this much. I don't know what I can do next. I will happily actually let you do more talking after this, because I think you're gonna get colors right, even though it's pretty early right now where you're at.
Yeah. So now Bexy, I think he's evaluating whether to block or get 2 points, and I'm not sure what's best. There's still 2 Doritos or just 1?
I think it's 2. Nope.
I think
Yeah,
blocking
1,
might be worth it,
2.
but
Yeah, 2, 2, 2. It's 2, it's 2, it's 2. It does seem so because, well, you're sacrificing 2 points, but then you're preventing your opponent from scoring 2 points. There are some downsides. Potentially, one of them is you could use this platform as some sort of field connection. Let's say if you get a Dorito yourself, you put it like this, you drop a farmer, and then you connect through a regular city cap or monastery, basically the same square that over here above. And then at the same time with that, you also block the city, but he decides that he will have
And
other
just in time.
opportunities. And just in time, he prevents his opponent from scoring 2 points and potentially getting his meeple back. But Blue has no problems with this. Blue is just happy to score 4 points on the left, I guess.
Yeah, and now the two cities are the same size, right?
Well, yes. Blue's city is bigger. Oh, if we talk about the total amount of cities, of course, on the left it's going to be 5 points versus 5 points. Yeah. But then blue does have this big ruin over here, and yellow does have this slightly smaller ruin over here.
Oh.
What
But
did
now
I
he
tell
does
you?
the thing.
What did I tell you guys? Of course that later he will have to do that when he's in a less advantageous position. So now he actually needs to hope for a specific tile in order to get into that city, and that tile is no longer on the board. Way to go to miscount tiles. He was hoping for one triangle with a road, but all of them are on the board. So essentially this move was maybe just for the sake of taking a 4-point city. But then the question is, why do you need to take a 4-point city if you can just score 4 points on the left without investment of a meeple? So definitely some questions here for the player
maybe
with the blue
he
meeples.
thought he was cleaning it up, but I think it's more likely that he just miscounted.
Well, happens to the best of us, but we need to reevaluate this position again, as we see from huge developments here at the top. Yellow successfully completing his connection and also scoring a 6-point monastery, and yellow looks massively ahead. Now the question is, does blue now need to find some sort of miraculous field connection to win already? So the Japanese team is doing great. Thank you, by the way, for highlighting me in the chat. My teammate is on vacation, so I will need to update the scores myself. Should is at 1-0. Chris Traps is at 1-0. So please, Elias, take over the announcement as I take care of the scores.
Okay. So I really don't know what Bex is gonna do with this tile. It doesn't look like he has any. Okay. So maybe I think he's removing an invasion platform for the field. There was probably still some curve-like tiles, so a ninja farmer was possible, and not anymore. We said that there were no curves left, right? So this is not really the bottom right is not really a platform. Maybe if there are straight line like tiles, you could enter like on the very bottom right, sorry. Let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4,
I know there's one dagger
5,
remaining.
6,
That's
7,
what I know.
8, 9, 10, 11. I think there's one. Oh, yeah, there it is. So.
Well, actually, the remaining. I'm pretty sure that the remaining tiles are dagger and regular city cap, which means no field connection. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Which dagger is it? No, the communist
one.
The left one.
It has to be
I was just about to suggest something like this with the meeple from the outside, and then to connect through the outside of a curve, but no longer possible because it's the wrong type of dagger. Also, in a minute or so, we'll see whether my tile tracking was correct or not, and that's why
there's the simple cap.
There's a simple cap, and the last one should be a dagger. So it does seem that the move that won yellow the game was this move over here. Yep, there's the dagger. The commentator still got it. Our tile tracking is on point. I wish that were the case all the time when I actually play the games.
Yeah, I think yellow did play better this game.
It does seem to me, and I wouldn't say that yellow got particularly lucky or anything. because I mean, he lost the coin for the monastery and stuff. He did get the triple city tile, but that was a punishment for blue for not equalizing that city earlier. And in fact, that was the game deciding mistake. So all you gotta do in order to win the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship, you gotta stream snipe and you have to listen to what the commentators say. Look at this, a comfortable +7
Dultu
for
is
yellow.
ending as well. So Gottfried van Guillon wins against Arus 0307.
Very interesting. So it's not going to be a one-sided match. We know that for sure. Okay, we have Elias, you as my special guest get to decide, because my audience very indecisive. Which pair are we going next?
Traps?
Oh yeah, let's go.
Chris Traps.
Chris Traps against Ivan Bell. So I know that Ivan Bell is my subscriber, so we're gonna just root for him unapologetically.
Okay.
But if I don't know, maybe if Chris Traps also subscribed, then I'll change my mind. He might be. Actually, he might be. So I'm not sure about.
Oh, by the way, the Japanese player in game 5, Shoot, he also plays in the Brazilian Teams League, and I've played him in the Brazilian Teams League.
Did you lose?
I lose 2-1. Yeah.
Oh, so you did lose.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, many did lose, and in fact, the player with the screen name Should is one of the most picked players for your Fantasy 5, guys. Let me just. Okay, please take over the announcement as I take care my paranoid issues with triple checking the scoreboard.
So, Bellyone gets the second city with a T. So, this will be an interesting choice. I think probably he will just get 2 points. Another option I see is taking the other road just to make a forced cooperation with Chris Traps. I don't think that would be a very good move, but it's possible. I think he will just make the 2 points. Right now, Chris Traps has all the features on the board. Bellyone has no meeples on the board. He did get the first quick point. Okay, he goes for. I don't like this move. I'm gonna be honest. He's instead of making 2 points, he attacks a 2-point city with a 1-point city. So net gain would be 1 point, maybe. He's probably just afraid of the opponent finishing the city, but I think that's a bit too cautious from red.
I'm not hating
now
this
he
move,
has
actually.
To create a new city.
Yeah, I certainly think that 2 points are best here, but certainly as red, possibly you feel that you're ahead on the scoreboard, and all you just want to do, you don't want to have. You don't want your opponent to have impactful tiles. Like if you get something like the starting tile, you can get 4 points in a meeple back. And he, with this move, is essentially devaluing the starting tile for his opponent. So that's certainly doable, but of course the downside is something like this might happen. So he's going to be either in a losing mini battle or worse, in a big losing city where he gets connected through
now
he
violates he violates the 2 cities principle.
Yeah, that one had to be a mistake. Of course, this needed to stay open, and the other city needed to be opened over here. And look at that! Oh, this is so textbook. Immediate punishment. Immediate punishment for violating the 2 city principle. So he gets a tile, which is good for continuing cities, but it's terrible for starting cities. But what you're gonna do, you ain't gonna dump it, so he's forced to start a city. But there are no good places to start a city, and if anything, it's super vulnerable, because if black gets something like a triple city tile, then look at this, it's an immediate block of this meeple. So we do see some kind of classical opening missteps over here. And
caps with crossroads are gone.
Also very interesting for blocking. All the city caps with the crossroads have been used,
And
and now
now
very
this is an
interesting
interesting
choice.
choice for Chris because yeah, he can try to destroy the opponent's city or try to build his own big city, and he goes for the latter.
Of course, immediately going to be equalized, but he already got something out of it, right? Of course, yellow is not playing in this game. I keep doing this.
Yeah.
Red. Uh, well, I mean, you know,
Oh,
you.
and by the
Yeah, yeah.
way, with this move, Chris traps. I don't think if knowingly, but he created a very some quick points there because there are still caps with straight road.
But I think that's exactly the point. I'm pretty sure it's knowingly, because the idea is if you get the starting tile that fits over here as red, you're probably not going to take the 5-point road because your city is so vulnerable, and you will likely finish your city and leave the other starting tile for black to potentially take this 5-point road. So I think that was really the only reason why he did so. Let's see if that actually works out. In the meantime, red is doing a good job trying to kind of equalize everywhere, but red is also running out of meeples, and black is just grabbing
Yeah.
monasteries, and I would say has a big advantage already. Don't look at the scoreboard. The scoreboard doesn't matter. -5, it's not such a big deal. The monasteries are just ruthless here.
Oh, interesting choice here, not taking the road, because he probably thinks it only favors him. Oh, and he has only one meeple.
Exactly,
But it
yeah,
only
yeah.
favors him to take the road because it creates a platform to attack the cities. Of course, not anymore, but
This tile was much needed, and look at this. He does get the road. Of course, he does not want to complete the connection over here. That's not in his interest because currently black is 1 point ahead in this mini battle. It's a theme that we saw in the previous game, and it actually did give blue in that instance. It was actually blue, the clubmates of black, and advantage. And so what black is going to be doing is just like building up over here, more city points, more monastery points, and then he'll be hoping to block this square over here. Currently it's not really possible, but he does proceed with the building stuff. In the meantime, big developments here. Red managing to finish his city and even dropping a farmer, which I rather like. Now whoever takes the 5 points for this coin flip over here for this road will merge the fields, and of course red wants to be on the field to prepare to do that. But now super interesting scenarios over here. Again, Chris gets his meeples back and he will be looking to snatch off this huge city. It's not as far-fetched as you might think. There's still 3 tiles that fit into this square, and of course red rightfully so managed to defend that square. But now one extender. Black is one extender away from creating this huge threat. The tube goes over here, a triangle goes over here, and there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 triangles remaining on the deck, so that's completely doable. And then blue is not participating in this game, but black will be able to take like a 26-point city or something. What do you make of this threat, Elias? How do you react to this threat if you are red? Do you like what red did just
yeah.
now?
I think I would have pointed the other way, maybe even taking the road.
Ah,
But
with the idea
but
that
yeah,
sort of preparing a 4-point road for a triangle and knowing that the play with the black meeples needs the triangles elsewhere. I rather like that, but the play with the black
yeah, and
meeples
also
did not
the
necessarily need
straight line would
triangles.
favor you. You know I love the straight line law, so
I know, yes. Just to remind our viewers, it's kind of a way to estimate blocking probabilities. So straight line is one of the sort of most useless tiles. It's actually not useless. There are situations where you're absolutely begging for a straight line. For example, Bellywan probably here would have much preferred a straight line rather than the monastery, because the straight line goes here to prevent your opponent from finishing the city and dropping a farmer. In fact, I mean, he'd trade any tile here for a straight line. Well, a triple city, I guess, would have been nice as well. Over here or over here, dropping a farmer, trying to connect like this. This is actually a tempo move that's completely live. But going back to the straight line law, it's the idea that when you are blocking something with a curve, it's most of the time, unless the tile runout is very skewed in a certain way, it's better to turn the curve in such a way that your opponent cannot use a straight line to defend, but need some sort of other tiles to defend. Did I explain it right, Elias?
Yeah. The straight line is a very unversatile tile. You cannot turn it to point wherever you want. You have to point it the way it's pointing.
Exactly. It's only 2 rotations opposed to 4.
Yeah, and those two are equal to one. Well, yeah. Usually you can only use one of the two, I mean, because you have to put the road in one of the places.
Oh, wait, I need
So
to
yeah, if you can make use of unversatile tiles, you have more tiles than the opponent, so you are in an advantage. And now Beliwan creates an evil hamster for himself, which is very interesting. If you are Chris Traps and you get the monastery, you have to take the 9 points, right?
Absolutely.
Even though you free the monastery of the opponent.
But it also matters when you get it, because like if you get it early enough, you don't even free your opponent's monastery. Because like now, if black gets it, then it's great. You get 8 points, and you're still going to have a chance to block red's meeples if you have to. But in the meantime, let's see which win condition will be chosen by red. Red is certainly not out of the woods here, and if anything, I prefer black in this situation. Black is preparing to take over this 9-point field, which could grow, but more importantly, black is threatening to close this 10-point city. It's something that red does not want to happen, and he's probably now thinking between 2 moves. One is putting the curve like this, facing upwards, which is probably the move I prefer, or the other one is facing it downwards and dropping a farmer, trying to do everything in tempo, but instead he doesn't address this threat whatsoever. Not sure how I feel about that. He just goes for the greed. He decides, you know what? It's okay for you to finish a big city or a medium-sized city. I'm just gonna build up some monasteries over here. Let's see if that works out for him. Well, now we're probably going to see a block over here or some sort of block up top. Yes, and I rather like this move with a meeple, actually. Well, surely we're going to see meeple now. Also very interesting here that black choose to connect like this and not like this. Kind of chooses to spend 1 extra tile. I'm not sure what his reasoning was over here. So, what's a sensitive situation over here? It really
I think he didn't want to create the big road. Just that.
I mean, yeah, big road, big schmode. It's 4 points versus 4 versus 6 points. Not such a huge difference.
Yeah.
But I certainly understand it. Well,
if you are black and you get the triple city, do you close it and place a farmer or not? As black.
Yeah,
not as red, of course, as black.
The question is how important.
Oh, I like that move, by the way.
With the farmer, yeah, I do like it quite as well. Well, first of all, actually, there are several positive scenarios for black. One is everything here gets blocked, and then you just simply have a 3 versus 3 mini battle, and this field can still grow. Another thing that can happen is there's still monasteries with the road. If black gets a monastery with the road, black is not forced by any law of nature to place it over here in the monastery spot. What black can do, black can simply take 2 points over here and then a curve, and then get a third meeple into this field if he had to. And he might have to do that if red draws the triple city over here and drops a farmer. So it's certainly a very flexible field meeple put over here. It's kind of some sort of waiting move. In the meantime, though, red proceeds with his plan to build up the monastery, and it does seem to me that a lot in this game will be decided by who draws the monastery with the road first. What do you think, Elias? Can black win this if he doesn't draw the monastery coin flip?
We would need to count some points, but I think it's possible, because even if you lose the first monastery, you can win the second one and get this large road, for example.
Righty, the
Of
6-point
course,
road.
Red has the other monastery. Now Red closes his city, but now Black has a 6-point field, and Black gets the 5-point road. Is it 5? Yeah,
It is
5.
5, yeah. It's pretty good, and look how close the field is. It's just so hard to attack. But now we're gonna see a lot of gambling, lots of just quick points here, quick points there. I think really, as Red, you don't attack the field until you get the triple city tile, as weird as it may sound. Or you might actually just take a road straight away, because there's still one regular road and crossroads, the T-shaped crossroads that you can use. You could also take this road at the bottom, and then if you do so, you kind of hope to drop this thing, drop a farmer with tempo as you complete it, because this 6-point field, I think there's still one more tile that turns it into a 9-point field. Don't do it. I thought for a second he was going to drop a farmer. That would have been too desperate. But I'm not sure how I feel about that move. It looks like it's kind of preparing some sort of field connection. You have 2 meeples. I think you need to start scoring, my man.
I think he's just like baiting Black to take it. Now, I have a question. If you're Black, do you take the 4 quick points creating a 9-point field or not? And he chooses not to. And I think it's correct.
This is super interesting, and this is what he was setting up. He's setting up a 50-50 look like this. So now, this is so interesting. There is no longer a field connection possible through here, and Red is taking the one field connection possible through here. So he's giving himself one tile, but a one tile only, but this tile will give him 12 plus 6, 18 points, and if Red does not draw that tile, he can still win the coin flip for the monastery and win the game somehow that way. So that was certainly a very interesting sequence here prepared by Red, which I had overlooked. Well, now we probably will see this city completed just for the sake of finishing those, just for the sake of sharing those 4 points.
Yeah, it's interesting that I think it was Black who decided to just join the field so that closing the city no longer has the possibility of dropping a farmer instead of taking the 4 points. As I told you, I didn't like the 4 points because most likely Red will take that 9-point field, so it's net -5, I would say. Now he's defending
it's not really -5. It's net +1. Because you would have to invest a meeple. But yeah, I get your idea. I really like this spatial move, and I really like this anticipation. And also the thing, you're dropping a city cap in your own field. There's still one tile that fits here to give 7 points for Black, or potentially, if it's on the last move, even 9 points if Black were to drop a farmer. The downside of this, Elias, is by not cleaning off this empty city cap, if there's a situation when Red does not draw the starting tile.
That's dangerous by Red, by the way. I think Black should have thought longer about that one, because with the Red's move, now Black can join the field, actually.
I do agree, but I think it was a thing that Black did not expect this move, and so Black already kind of pre-moved this monastery automatically. That sometimes happens. Maybe he expected something else, and when... For Ivan, you didn't win this coin flip, well, you kind of have to hope for this tile now. And I really don't know what
and he has to block the farmer that he has to block the entrance for the farmer that he himself created.
Exactly, he has to spend a move. Oh, like, actually, it ain't bad. Okay. Ain't bad. He's hoping for this.
Yeah.
Well, he did lose both coin flips, so... didn't work out for Red, but certainly a very interesting event. And you know what, Ivan, I appreciate you doing stuff for the content, because like everybody here only thinks about making safe moves just to try and like win the game by a couple of points. Here it's like double or nothing. Either I get 18 points or I go bust. But well, losing the coin flip in 2 spots is unfortunate.
Oh, I
So
think
is
he
this.
miscounted because that move seems like a miscount to me. That I don't know if there was a better one, but he no. Actually, I don't know why. Because I was thinking maybe he wants to take the 4 point road, but of course, if you get that crossroad, you get the largest part of the road, not that one. So no, I think he just gave up.
It does make sense, and I kind of don't see really what. Well, wait. Well, I guess what you have to do is to go over here and drop a meeple like this and connect through the monastery, right? I mean, what else can you do? Actually, no. Safer would be to go over here on the left, drop a farmer on the other side, and connect through the monastery. Because you're going to need to win the 50-50. And at least you
Yeah,
get 12 points that way. Let's see what the players are saying to each other in the chat. I know I'm covering it a little bit with my face. Billy One saying, unfortunate, congrats
yeah,
again. Don't say that, don't say that. It's, well, okay, you're saying unfortunate, but if you say something about your opponent's luck, it's what that typically, because like whenever somebody points out luck to me in the chat, first of all, that's not always true. In this case, it's kind of true. You know, Red didn't really win a lot of coin flips, but I mean, Red did get some nice cities over here and over here pretty quickly. So and this monastery was quite alright, I think. So it wasn't like it was a complete disaster. But if you're acknowledging somebody's lucky for saying, "Oh, you know, you're lucky," what that usually codes for, it's code for you can't play, you don't deserve this win, or even if that's not what you mean, it can be perceived that way. I know. What do you think about this, Elise? Are
yeah,
you?
yeah. I totally agree. I really try to not complain about my luck in a game. And I'm even one of those who sometimes apologizes if I get too lucky. Not a little lucky, like really like get the five something that the opponent had defended for, or get all the six monasteries in a huge Vatican, stuff like that. Uh, but yeah, I sometimes I do feel like it's a bit rude to say, "Oh, you are just too lucky." It's like, yeah, you didn't win, luck won. Your luck won the game. Yeah, I think, yeah, Belly One has a Hail Mary. He
Uh,
didn't see it.
maybe he just gave up. I think it will be more like if you're gonna fight until the end, you do the monastery thing. So he did cost himself
Yeah,
5 points over here. Not that it's gonna matter or anything. He now
yeah.
realizes it.
But
No, Joao, it wasn't 100% blockable. This was blockable, but if you put it on the left, it was 100% unblockable. Like this. On the very left. So you don't need to attach this road tile to the road tile. To the road.
so should won game two, and I think let me check because I'm not sure. No, Gottfried van Wielen is on game. Okay, Gottfried van Wielen is winning by some 30 points, and I think there are not enough features for Black to come back, so I think that would be a duel for the Netherlands.
So it's going to be 2-1 in the match, which means that the Netherlands still has hope, but Japan is probably one game away from claiming this match. And this game would be EQ versus Nordwijk. So how's that going?
Oh, and Bexy won against Janoichi Traps. That's 50 to 41. Nine tiles remaining. I see one medium dead city for red. I see a small dead city for red as well. I think fields favor blue right now, but I'm not totally sure about the score. I think EQ is better, but I haven't counted properly.
Well, we have to watch this one. I've just opened this game, and it is probably for the match because it's not 2-2 yet, right? Gottfried hasn't completely won his game, and there's still a few tiles remaining. If I'm not mistaken.
It's over now. It's just finished.
So we are actually watching the decider officially. Yeah. Interesting how so, everything ends up being 2-0. That's kind of surprising. Okay, so now I guess in order to enjoy more Carcassonne, we have to root here for the Dutch player because then it becomes 1-1, and then we have to watch an actual decider. But let's see here.
Yeah.
Certainly, without kind of delving in deep into the position, you want to be the player up 9 points of the scoreboard and with an extra meeple in hand. But then why doesn't have red meeples? Maybe that's because they're well deployed, and I see that not particularly. His meeples are deployed for a desperate attempt to try and equalize the fields, but are there even curves to do that? 1, 2, 3,
are the cities closable?
7, 8.
Blue and red. Are those finishable?
This one's not finishable over here. I can see 1, 2, 3 left-handed daggers, and I can see at least 3. I can see 4 starting tiles on the board, so this is not finishable. But blue city, now that looks much scarier, but that is totally finishable. Well, red does get no. It's
the
not
field
finishable.
is tied right now.
The field is tied, and it is the play with the red meeples who gets to score one more thing, one more feature. Maybe if he gets some sort of curvy-like tile,
look,
which I don't think is in existence.
Blue can make 3 points by extending his field. Will he see it?
Oh, over here. Look at this. Yeah, of course, because that's a very nice spot here, Elias. Because this is not the only field. There's the 6-point field in play. And blue, of course, has a choice between adding 1 point over here. But if blue... he didn't see it. He doesn't see it.
He didn't see it.
So you should be... that's his punishment. Okay, so he is a member of the Traps Club, but he does not have it in the screen name. So that's for... not being devoted enough to your club, you end up not seeing 3-point plays. Let's see if these extra 2 points ends up being decisive. However, I can see maybe one more thing. Maybe he wants to take a straight line and kind of block this road away from red. Maybe that's something that he was thinking. But on the other hand, this kind of stuff, it's not that easy to spot because that's just not the immediate thing that jumps to mind when you see monasteries. The first thing that you see monastery, a monastery I get to build around, but then you realize that you don't have meeples, and then you think, it's a 2-point road or a 3-point road, and then you realize that you don't have meeples, and then you're so disappointed at the fact that you don't have meeples that you actually don't think that you can use it as a field tile. So something very interesting going on here, possibly when it comes to like 20/20 vision and hindsight. This tile. So speaking of extending fields, I'm pretty sure that red will notice that he can score 3 more points by merging these 2 farmers, right? Right?
I hope so, yeah. He has plenty of time. It appears as he's playing from a cell phone. But as we know, that sometimes is not true.
That's true, yeah. Like, if you have been on your cell phone at any time in the past month, BGA will keep showing it. Also, this could be a tablet, which I guess is not that bad. But, well, time to show some Dutch patriotism here. Like, this is the most Dutch screen name possible. You have a double O, and you have an IJ. IJ, that's like real Dutch. Just show that you can win games for your team. Okay. And prolong the match for us so that we get more content. He did find the move. with 14 seconds left on the clock, was probably counting tiles, which I certainly do respect. But then, as Eki over here, maybe you try and take away this road. Of course, this would not really work because there are no regular curves remaining anyway. So I guess you just place this tile somewhere that feels nice, maybe like somewhere over here. Or you should look for opportunities. Is there any way how red can take over this 12-point field? And no, there isn't. I don't see any. Well, no.
Is that a defensive move?
I think so. I'm pretty sure like he didn't want some sort of farmer. I'm not sure if that was even physically possible. Actually, it was, because there was a monastery. No, there was no monasteries. Yeah, maybe that was just some sort of way to prevent a Hail Mary farmer. Sometimes you want to play moves like this, like if you're not sure about the tiles remaining, just build barricades. And we know from the chat that blue is up and blue wants to keep it that way. And it doesn't seem to me that this is not the tile that red wanted to see. Don't lose on time. 5, 4. Okay, good. Don't. No farmer. No farmer.
Yeah. So what's the last tile? How many points will red get?
Well, you're putting me on the spot here, Elias.
I think there might be some curve-like tile, so maybe EQ has to defend the road, the empty road, to block the empty road. I mean,
that does make sense. I actually think there are no curve-like tiles remaining. There are no daggers. Oh, he just gets 1 point.
Okay.
Oh, so we got from the chat that red
6.
needed 8 points to tie, but he got only 6, and this means that red is losing by 2, unless red's only hope here is that the chat miscounted. So to preserve the uncertainty, I'm not going to look. I'm not going to refresh. But I know you probably did calculate it right. Well, red did fight until the end. It just didn't quite work out for them. Actually, there were some win conditions. I think if red was winning with double city tiles, I guess that was his win condition. Yeah, you in the chat are spot on. As you see, we have some very strong viewers here, and congratulations for Team Japan for again asserting their dominance. Certainly Netherlands put more hurdles in the way than Slovakia did last week, but it's good for Netherlands as well. It will mean that they have some valuable tiebreakers. And wait, what are they saying?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, guys. Oh, I did not have the luck. Just don't. I'm not going to read the chat anymore. The luck. Because, like, maybe if you play a perfect game or something, like if we go through the game, there's definitely something that could have been done at some point. So, unfortunate to lose, I know, but just don't bring up luck. Well, anyway, it was a good try. Congrats to Japan, which we are not leaving yet, because I first of all need to see what the yes, how to join the fantasy game. That's a great question, and we're going to talk about it right now.
Oh, I am not hearing you anymore.
Really?
For some reason. Oh, I can hear you again. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, I reminded you...
I think it was just a hallucination because I watched the stream and it's a few seconds early. So I saw your mouth moving, but I didn't hear you and I thought you were muted or something.
Yeah, but that's also because I actually did, as unlikely as it may seem, I did keep my mouth shut for like 5 seconds. Yeah. while I was checking. Actually, the thing I was checking is whether Elias himself is participating in the Fantasy 5 game. Okay, we have a bunch of things.
I haven't.
Yeah. Perfect. So we have several things to talk about. The Fantasy 5. I need to remind you that I am giving away to my viewers or to one of y'all a copy of the board game called Citadels. If you don't know what that is, you are 90% likely to enjoy it. And I'm also attaching special competitive rules from Alexey so that you're going to have something that only you on this planet have. And in order to win that board game of Citadels, you need to sign up for the Fantasy Carcassonne long-term game that we're going to play throughout the championship. Already 40 of you did so the competition is going to be overwhelming. And basically what this boils down to, you need to visit the video at the description, in the description of this live stream, and then the video will have all the terms and conditions, and then you visit that video, and then you pick 5 players who you think are going to perform best in this championship. Not 5 teams, 5 players from different teams. Of course you can, well, basically you'll just see the rules. And in the meantime, I'm gonna have some stats here. So yeah, 40 of you have selected their Fantasy 5s. From Japan, all players have been selected at least once except Yanochi Traps, and we kind of see why they did lose the duel. Yeah. So Chris Traps was selected and Should was selected by several of you, and you will in fact get your points. Interestingly, 18 of you has selected Should for their Fantasy 5, but he's not the most selected Japanese player. It's actually Kithara, with 22 of you selected him. But interestingly, he's not even the most popular player. Want to have a guess, Elias? Who is the most frequently selected player for the Fantasy 5 by my viewers, with 23, or more than half of you selecting them for the Fantasy 5?
It's probably someone you know, right?
It is, yes. It is exactly someone you know from Team RCP.
Yeah.
And then of course
Very solid choice, I have to say.
I have to ask you this, Elias. So who would be your Fantasy 5?
Yeah, I think someone you know is a pretty good choice. I would choose Marian Kurkan as well, Mars 15. I think Kithara is also a pretty solid choice. I haven't entered the contest because I feel weird betting in events that I'm participating on. Like, it would be weird to select players from teams I'm playing against, but it also doesn't feel too cool to just put like 3 Mexicans and 2 people from other teams. I don't know.
Well, actually, that's some. I think 4 of my viewers did that. So obviously, I think many of my viewers who actually selected their Fantasy 5s are also participating in the championship. And yeah, 4 of you chose themselves, which I have respect for, actually. Now I have double motivation. And the thing is, like, that kind of makes sense. Like, of course you're planning to win. What are you going to lose on purpose? No, you want to win. Like, you want to win double.
Yeah, I was happy to see that someone put one Mexican in their team. I think someone from Spain put Pichan 19 in their team. I think that was cool. I think I'm not in any team.
You're not in any team, unfortunately. Well, that's what you get for losing your first duel against Czechia.
Yeah, understandable.
Well, but despite that, though, Daniel Ayala is on somebody's pick, so that will be...
Okay.
Yeah, it's Daniel Ayala, and then, of
solid
course,
choice.
Pichan 19. Actually, if you ask me, I think you should line up Pichan more often. He does seem to be making a lot of progress.
He didn't have he was busy this weekend, so I did intend to line him up against Guatemala, but it was a scheduling thing. But I assure you that he will play.
And yeah, also, like, I just have to advocate for my viewers. Like, he's a long time subscriber as well. But one thing I've noticed is he was one of the first players on Board Game Arena to switch to slow time controls when it was announced that slow time controls would be implemented at this World Championship. He actually started playing only in slow mode, which of course, I think is much more healthier than like half of my viewers who are probably after the stream are going to go continue Candy Crushing Arena. You do what you want. I'm just
Yeah, I was actually hesitant to play in last week's Blitz tournament because my mindset does change. Like I need to play a lot of slow games to get used to slow playing, because if I play Blitz, I sometimes play Blitz with 22 minutes on the clock, and that's not good.
yes,
But
but then
okay,
again,
I
in
didn't lie
Blitz, you can
myself off
practice
this
time
week,
trouble.
so I can. Yeah, but I'm usually not in time. I don't think I've ever been in time trouble in the WTCOC. Like,
Really,
yeah, I don't think
that is
so.
a real achievement, because oh wait, that just kind of brings some unpleasant memories from my first ever WTCOC match when I was in so much trouble that because of nervousness my right hand stopped moving and I could like barely move the mouse, and as a result I ended up not placing a meeple in a like 90% winning position in a game that ended up being decisive for
Oh,
the entire match. Yeah, ain't great. But hey, time conditions are equal for everybody, and we've gone to slow time controls, which I think is an improvement. Some endgame positions, they are getting incredibly complex, as you will see in one of my videos, which is coming out in about 2.5 months. Yes, the schedule is planned that far ahead. It's just a lot of content that that has been filmed and is still in the editing room. So we've talked about the Fantasy 5. I hope the instructions should be clear. And Elias now has given you guidance on whom to pick. Now the next question. I kind of wanted to talk during the stream because I hope that the Japanese players would be slow, but they were pretty fast, so we didn't have time for that. But we know
yeah,
that.
I was shocked about that because I remember them being pretty slow usually. But yeah, no, this time they were pretty fast.
But we know that outside Carcassonne, yeah, believe me, there is a world outside Carcassonne, and in that world, Elias, you're a mathematician. So there
Yep.
was recently exciting news in the math world. You will probably see this in a few seconds. I've pulled up an image which looks something like a weird Catan board, but is not quite Catan. Could you tell us what's so special about this type of weird Catan and the shape of these tiles that we can see on the screen?
Oh yeah, this is recent exciting news. It's something called the Einstein problem, not related to Albert Einstein. It's um, so as all of you Carcassonne players know, you can tile the plane using a square, for example. So by tiling, I mean you can put a bunch of squares in the plane, all looking the same. But if you do it in the most natural way, this will be periodic, meaning that you can move anywhere and the tiling will look the same. If you're a Catan player, you probably know that you can also tile the plane with hexagons. But again, if you step anywhere in the plane, the tiling looks the same. So it was a question that whether you can tile the plane in a way that it looks different everywhere, but everything is tiled. So every spot of the plane has to be covered by a tile, and no two tiles can overlap. And so like this problem became popular like a little over 50 years ago, and they started finding tilings that used like 20,000 different types of tiles, and it was different everywhere. But 20,000 is a pretty big number, and they got it down to 106, and then they got it down to 40 or something like that. And finally, in 50 years ago, like in 1973, they nailed it down to two kinds of tiles. So you have something that looks, I think, like this, like a rhombus, and something, I don't remember what was the other tile. It's called Penrose tiling. You can Google it. And it's a pretty tiling of the plane that uses two kinds of tiles, and it looks different everywhere you step. It looks something different. The question was, can you do it with just one kind of tile? So this problem has been open for 50 years, and recently some mathematicians claim that they have done it. And it's this thing that you see on the screen, on the board. They are not hexagons, they call it a hat. So it's something that you divide a triangle in like kites, and then you glue those kites together, and apparently you can use this shape. There's only one way to tile the plane with this shape, and the tiling looks different in anywhere you step on. So if you step in one place, you see the floor, you see some pattern, and if you walk around, the pattern will be different no matter where you step on. So yeah, it's called the Einstein problem, because Ein is one and Stein is stone, so one stone. I'm pretty sure they were aware of the relation to Albert Einstein, but the alleged etymology is one stone. So how to tile the plane aperiodically, so no repetition, with one stone. I hope it was somewhat clear.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, it was clear to me, so it was interesting for me, and then probably for some of my viewers as well. But like, if it was interesting for 10% of you, that's cool. Yeah, that's well, at least we found out that mathematicians are also people who like puns.
Of course.
I'm currently like just looking at this shape. It looks sort of like really random. It kind of looks like a meeple, like a Carcassonne meeple that's dancing. And do you know, like, how would you describe this shape geometrically? It is some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, some sort of
Yeah.
dodecagon.
Yeah. If you Google what let me see. If you probably like monotile Einstein, something like that, you probably get a different picture of this thing, and some pictures are pretty clear what's happening. So yeah, you have a triangle, and then you put you basically you tile the plane with triangles, and then you split those triangles into kites by putting one dot in the center and then drawing lines to the midpoints of the edges, and then you join some subset of this. So yeah, it is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I think it's 14 sides. But yeah. Yeah, I think some of those images look better, like what's going on. I haven't read the paper yet, so I don't know how to prove that this is really an aperiodic tiling. But and it's actually under peer review still. You can read it; it's in the archive, so the preprint is available for anyone to read. But the magazine hasn't accepted yet. But people are optimistic, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, it does look pretty cool. I give you that, and it does look aperiodical for sure. So I don't seem to have patterns there. You've been talking about sort of the periodicity and the history, but the Carcassonne player in me is thinks that we should start a GoFundMe campaign to make and lobby Chris Wallace into making a Carcassonne with this shape of tiles, because I know you're familiar.
Oh, I love the idea.
Yeah, yeah. Because like the reigning UK champion Chris Wallace with the screen and Wallace Prime is well known for making all kinds of three-dimensional physical versions of Carcassonne. He mentioned something that's called Tricassonne, Carcassonne with triangular tiles, but on an icosahedron. And
Okay, that's a pretty short game, I guess.
I mean, but there's still a lot of strategy involved. Interestingly, or maybe
Okay,
what
yeah.
was there? I think it was an icosahedron. I don't think you can actually make it any bigger easily.
You can. Yeah, you can. Like, if you only care about phase transitivity, so all tiles are the same, you can get pretty big polyhedra with just triangles. Icosahedron is the one with that is regular, so all the triangles are the same and all the vertices look the same. But you can, for example, do what's a good example? I know how to construct them, but I don't know the names. So for us, take any polyhedra that you want and put a dot in the middle of each face and put a dot in the middle of each edge and join the points from the middle of a face to the middle of each edge to the vertices. And then you have a new polyhedron consisting of just triangles, right angle triangles. This is called barycentric subdivision. And if your original polyhedron is regular, then all the triangles are the same. If your original polyhedron has regular, yeah, it's enough that faces are regular and they are all the same. Then the new thing will have triangles and they will all be the same.
Oh,
So yeah, you
beautiful.
can do pretty big stuff. This is my area of mathematics, by the way. So
Okay.
this is
Awesome.
the
Well,
kind of math that I do.
yeah, we should have led with that. We should have led with that. Absolutely. Well, and it kind of explains why I'm good at Carcassonne in a way. Because you have to imagine, like you have to do a lot of you need to imagine space in the future in order to be good at Carcassonne, right?
Yeah, I
Or do you
don't
not
really
like
know
making
if
that connection?
there's a correlation.
Yeah, I know, I know,
I
yeah.
don't know. Like there might be. I know mathematicians that are very good at math and they don't play Carcassonne. I also know people who are very good at Carcassonne and don't do math. But I do think there's like I actually every time I meet someone who's very good at board games and they tell me they are bad at math, I'm pretty sure they are wrong. They are good at math. They just haven't tried some math that they like. Because playing board games and doing math is pretty much the same thing. It's you just have to imagine what's gonna happen after something or what are the consequences of something. So it's pretty similar kind of logic.
Pretty much, but it does seem to me that like math is very often a tough sell because I definitely agree with you with this one because like you have to have at least partially. No. Basically, I'm just not going to reiterate what you said. Yeah, I completely agree with you. But it does seem to me that whenever I meet an adult who says that, oh, I'm bad at math, that's like 90% of the time it was because they were traumatized at school.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Alrighty. I think that should do it today for our stream. Thank you so much, Elias, for joining, and I need to wish you good luck in the game against Guatemala, where you will be.
Thank you.
I wanted to make because they are neighboring countries. I wanted to make some sort of joke about a border dispute, but I didn't find anything that would suit after a bit of googling.
Yeah, I'm not too versed, but I like my neighbors, and I hope we have a good game.
Yeah. So You like your neighbors, but you still want to win in Carcassonne, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
That's a very nice answer of you. As for my viewers, I'll see you in 2 hours and 40 minutes for our monthly viewer games analysis stream. I have 3 pretty interesting games, I would think. There were many of suggestions I had to pick. And in the evening, of course, there's another match that we're going to comment on with who could my special guest be? But yeah, Belgium versus Argentina. In the meantime, I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
go
good
do
luck with
some
that.
house chores and do something that's not Carcassonne. And because we have a lot of Carcassonne today, I would encourage you to do the same. Maybe don't go Candy Crushing Arena immediately after this. But oh yeah, you do you. You do you. That's just a suggestion. Or, meeple the like button, of course. In case you're here for the first time, do subscribe for a lot of Carcassonne content coming in the next 2 months. But unless I forgot anything, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.
Thank you.